"You'll take both of us tonight," Dae-jung said, his frozen lake eyes boring into mine, and I realized my virginity wasn't just going to one stranger, it was going to two. I'd been in Seoul for exactly 4 hours, married to Korean Mafia twins I'd never met, and the dark one who barely spoke was telling me there was no choice, no escape, no mercy. His brother smiled gently and said they'd be patient, but Dae-jung stepped closer until I could smell his cologne and whispered, "Eventually, this marriage will be real." And the promise in his voice made me shiver with something that wasn't entirely fear. The envelope arrived on a Tuesday morning, cream-coloured and heavy, with my father's name written in elegant Korean calligraphy. I watched from the kitchen doorway as Papa's hands trembled opening it, watched the colour drain from his weathered Ghanaian face as he read whatever was inside. "Amma," he whispered, using my childhood name. "We need to talk." I was 21 years old, halfway through my nursing degree at the University of Lagos, and I'd never seen my father look so utterly defeated. Not when Mama died 3 years ago, not when his import business collapsed last year, but this was different. "Papa, what's wrong?" He handed me the letter without a word. I scanned the Korean characters I couldn't read, then found the English translation beneath. "Mr. Kwame Mensah, your outstanding debt to the Hwang organization has reached its final deadline. Payment of 800 million won is due within 7 days, or alternative arrangements must be made. As previously discussed, we are prepared to accept your daughter, Amma Mensah, as settlement. The contract has been drawn. We await your response. Respectfully, Hwang Enterprises." The letter slipped from my fingers. "Papa, what did you do?" "I borrowed money," he said, his voice hollow. 2 years ago, when your mother was sick. The hospitals here, they couldn't help her. I heard about a treatment facility in Seoul. Experimental, expensive. I found a man who said he could arrange financing. But Mama died anyway. She died because I couldn't pay fast enough. They gave me 1 treatment cycle. Said the rest would come when I made the first payment. But the business failed, and I couldn't... His voice broke. I couldn't save her, and now I can't save you. My legs felt weak. I sank into the nearest chair. What does this mean? Accept me as settlement. The man I borrowed from, his name is Hwang Jin-woo. He runs one of Seoul's most powerful criminal organizations, import-export on the surface, but underneath. Papa looked at me with eyes full of agony. He has twin sons, Dae-jung and Hwan. They're taking over the family business, and they need a wife. A wife? Papa, I'm in nursing school. I have exams next month. I can't just... They want you by this weekend, Amma. They've sent plane tickets, first class, one way. Then we tell them no. We find another way to pay. There is no other way. Papa's voice hardened with desperate finality. I've tried everything, sold everything. This house is already mortgaged 3 times over. If I refuse, they don't just take the debt from me, they take blood, starting with mine, then yours, then your brother's. They don't make idle threats, Amma. These men are not merchants. They're wolves. I thought of my younger brother, Kofi, 14 and still in secondary school. Thought of my father's tired face, aged 10 years in the 3 since Mama's death. Thought of the life I'd planned, finishing nursing school, working at the teaching hospital, maybe finding love on my own terms, all of it evaporating like morning mist. What kind of wife? I asked quietly. Papa couldn't meet my eyes. The contract says you'll marry both sons, live in their home, fulfill all duties expected of a wife. In exchange, my debt is cleared, and your family receives protection. Both sons. Papa, that's not even legal. In their world, legality is whatever they say it is. He finally looked at me, tears streaming down his face. I'm sending my daughter to be a slave to monsters. What kind of father does that make me? I stood, moved to him, wrapped my arms around his shaking shoulders, the kind who did everything to save his wife, the kind who's trying to save his children now. It's not your fault, Papa. But even as I said the words, terror was clawing its way up my throat. Marriage to two men I'd never met. Korean Mafia bosses who dealt in blood and violence. A world so far from my quiet Lagos life, I couldn't even imagine it. The plane tickets were for Friday. I had 3 days to say goodbye to everything I'd ever known. If this story already has you hooked, hit that subscribe button right now, because you won't want to miss what happens when Amma meets the Huang twins. Drop a comment and tell me, would you sacrifice yourself for your family? Because Amma's about to discover that some sacrifices change you forever. The flight to Seoul felt like travelling to another planet. 13 hours in a first-class seat that cost more than my entire year's tuition. Surrounded by businessmen and wealthy tourists while I wore my best dress, a simple yellow Ankara print that Mama had made me before she got sick, and clutched a small bag containing everything I owned. The flight attendants kept asking if I needed anything, their smiles polite but curious. What was a young African woman doing flying first class to Seoul alone? I couldn't tell them I was being delivered like a package to pay my father's debt. When we landed at Incheon International Airport, I followed the crowds through immigration, my hands shaking as I presented my passport and the special visa that had been included with the plane tickets. The immigration officer's eyes widened slightly when he scanned the document. Then he stamped it quickly and waved me through without the usual questions. Whatever power the Huang family had, it reached, even here. In the arrivals hall, I searched the crowd for a sign with my name, expecting some driver or assistant. What I found instead made my heart stop. 2 men stood near the exit, and they were impossible to miss. Identical twins, both tall, easily 6 feet, with the kind of sharp, almost cruel beauty that made people stare. High cheekbones, strong jaws, dark eyes that seemed to see everything. They wore expensive black suits that emphasized their broad shoulders and lean builds. Their hair was styled differently, though, one swept back sleekly, the other falling slightly forward across his forehead. That was the only way I could tell them apart, that and their expressions. The one with slicked back hair stood perfectly still, his face an unreadable mask, hands in his pockets. The one with the softer hairstyle had a slight smile playing at his lips, and his eyes tracked my approach with open curiosity. Amma Mensa, the smiling one asked as I got closer. His English was perfect, barely accented. I'm Juan. This is my brother Dae-jung. Welcome to Seoul. I managed a nod, not trusting my voice. Up close, they were even more overwhelming. Both radiated an energy that made the hair on my arm stand up, that primal recognition of predators. You must be exhausted from the flight, Juan continued when I didn't speak. We have a car waiting. We'll take you home, let you rest, and we can talk properly tomorrow. Home? I finally found my voice. You mean your home? Our home, Dae-jung corrected. His voice was deeper than his brother's, quieter, but it cut through the airport noise like a blade. Which is now your home too. You should get used to that. He turned and started walking toward the exit, without waiting to see if I'd follow. Juan gave me an apologetic smile, took my bag from my hands, and gestured for me to walk with him. Don't mind Dae. He's not great with people, but he's not as scary as he seems. He seems terrifying, I said before I could stop myself. Juan laughed, the sound warm and surprisingly genuine. Okay. He is exactly as scary as he seems, but he won't hurt you. Neither of us will. You're not a prisoner, Amma. You're family now. I'm a debt payment. You're both. Juan's smile faded into something more serious. I won't lie to you about what this arrangement is, but I can promise you we're not monsters. Give us a chance to prove that. The car was a black Mercedes SUV with tinted windows. Dae-jung sat in front with the driver, while Hwan gestured for me to sit in back with him. As we pulled away from the airport, Seoul unfolded around me, a sprawling, glittering cityscape that made Lagos look like a village. "Have you been to Korea before?" Hwan asked. "Never. I've barely left Lagos." "Then we'll make sure you see the good parts, the palaces, the markets, the mountains. Seoul is beautiful when you know where to look. I'm not here for tourism." "No," Hwan agreed, "but you're here for the rest of your life. Might as well learn to love it. The rest of my life." The words hit like a physical blow. This wasn't temporary. This wasn't something I could endure and then return home from. This was forever. I must have made some sound because Hwan's hand landed gently on mine. "Breathe, Amma. Just breathe, one day at a time, okay?" In the front seat, Dae-jung's eyes found mine in the rearview mirror. For a moment, our gazes locked, and I saw something flicker in those dark depths, not cruelty, something else, something almost like concern. Then he looked away, and I wondered if I'd imagined it. The Hwang family home wasn't a home, it was a fortress. We drove through the wealthy Gangnam district, then up into the hills where the houses got bigger and farther apart. Finally, we turned onto a private road that climbed higher until we reached a gate that looked like it belonged to a military installation. Armed guards checked the car, then waved us through. The house beyond was modern and massive, all glass and steel and sharp angles, built into the hillside so it seemed to grow out of the mountain itself. "This is where you live," I whispered. "This is where our father lives," Dae-jung said, speaking for the first time since the airport. "We have the West Wing. You'll have your own room, your own space. We're not barbarians." The inside was just as overwhelming as the outside. Marble floors, soaring ceilings, art that probably cost more than my father's entire debt. Staff members bowed as we passed, housekeepers, security guards, people whose jobs I couldn't even identify. Hwan led me through a maze of corridors to the West Wing, which turned out to be a massive apartment built into the side of the main house. 3 bedrooms, a kitchen, living spaces, and floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked all of Seoul. "This is yours," Hwan said, opening a door to reveal a bedroom bigger than my entire family's living room back home. "Bathrooms through there, closets already stocked with clothes we had made based on your measurements. If anything doesn't fit or you need something else, just tell Mrs. Choi. She's the head housekeeper." "How did you get my measurements?" "Your father provided them when he signed the contract." "Right, the contract." I still hadn't seen it. "I want to read it," I said. "The contract. I want to see exactly what I agreed to." "You didn't agree to anything," Dae-jung said from the doorway. "Your father sold you. There's a difference." "Dae," Hwan warned. "She should know the truth." Dae-jung stepped into the room, and suddenly the space felt smaller. He moved like a predator, all controlled power and dangerous grace. "Your father signed a contract that transfers legal guardianship of you to our family. In exchange, his debt is forgiven, and your family receives protection and a monthly stipend. The contract states you will live here, present yourself as our wife for all business and social purposes, and fulfill all duties expected in that role." "What duties?" My voice came out steadier than I felt. Dae-jung's eyes held mine. "Every duty, Amma. This isn't a job you clock in and out of. This is a marriage, which means you belong to us, both of us, completely." Heat flooded my face. "I don't belong to anyone." "That's where you're wrong." He moved closer, stopping just inside my personal space. I could smell his cologne as something dark and expensive. "The moment your father signed that contract, you became ours. The sooner you accept that, the easier this will be." "That's enough," Hwan said firmly. He physically stepped between us, breaking Daejung's intense stare. She just got here. Let her breathe. We can discuss details tomorrow. There's nothing to discuss. But Daejung stepped back. She should rest. We'll have dinner at 7. Mrs. Choi will come get you. He left without another word. I stood there shaking, not from fear exactly, but from the intensity of his presence. It was like standing too close to a fire, dangerous, uncomfortable, but somehow impossible to look away from. I'm sorry, Juan said softly. He's not always like this. He's just protective. This situation is complicated for all of us. Complicated? He just told me I'm property. You're not property. You're family. There's a difference. Is there? I sat on the edge of the enormous bed, suddenly exhausted, because from where I'm sitting, I was bought and paid for. That sounds like property to me. Juan sat beside me, careful to leave space between us. Our father arranged this marriage for business reasons. In our world, marriages aren't about love. They're about alliances, stability, trust. Your father came to us desperate, and we saw an opportunity. An opportunity to buy a wife? An opportunity to secure our future. Juan's voice was patient. Dee and I are taking over the family business. That makes us targets. We need someone we can trust absolutely. Someone who isn't connected to any of the other families. Someone who can't be used against us. Your father's situation gave us that. So, I'm a security measure. You're a partner, whether you see it that way yet or not. He stood. Rest. Unpack. There's a phone on the nightstand. It's yours. Already programmed with our numbers. If you need anything at all, call. Okay. After he left, I sat in silence, trying to process everything. My phone buzzed. A message from Papa. Did you arrive safely? Are they treating you well? I couldn't bring myself to answer yet. Instead, I explored my new room. The closet was indeed full of clothes, all in my size, ranging from casual wear to formal gowns. The bathroom had a tub big enough to swim in. The window overlooked Seoul's glittering skyline. Everything was perfect and beautiful, and felt like a cage. I found the phone Juan mentioned and saw it already had several contacts programmed. Juan, Daejung, Mrs. Choi, Driver Kim, emergency. There was also a message from a number labelled Juan. I know this is overwhelming, but you're safe here. I promise. Rest, and we'll talk at dinner. Hate you. I didn't rest. I paced. I cried. I thought about running. But where would I go? I was in a foreign country, didn't speak the language, had no money, and even if I escaped, they'd go after my father and brother. I was trapped, completely, utterly trapped. At exactly 7, a knock came at my door. An older Korean woman stood there, her expression kind. Miss Armour, I'm Mrs. Choi. Dinner is ready. The young masters are waiting. I'm not hungry. They expected you might say that. She smiled gently, but they asked that you come anyway, just to talk, no pressure to eat. Everything about this was pressure, but I followed her through the apartment to a dining room where a table was set for 3. Juan and Daejung stood when I entered, like gentlemen from another era. You look rested, Juan said, though we both knew it was a lie. I sat in the chair he pulled out, noting that it put me between them. Daejung sat on my left, Juan on my right, boxed in. We should establish some ground rules, Daejung said without preamble, so everyone knows what to expect. Rules? I found my voice. I thought you said I was family, not an employee. Even families have rules, Daejung replied, especially in our world. Rule 1. You don't leave this house without one of us or approved security. Seoul is dangerous for someone connected to our family. Rule 2, Juan continued, his voice softer. You learn Korean. We've arranged a tutor who'll come 3 times a week. You need to be able to understand what's happening around you. Rule 3, Dae-jung again. You tell no one about the nature of our business. As far as anyone knows, we run a legitimate import-export company. You're our wife. We met through family friends. Your father approved the match. That's the story. So, I lie to everyone. You protect yourself and your family, Dae-jung corrected. Our enemies would love to know details about our operations. You can't tell them what you don't know, and you can't accidentally reveal what you never learned. What are your enemies like? I asked. Should I be afraid? Yes, Dae-jung said bluntly. But not when you're with us. We don't lose. Rule 4. Juan cut in before his brother could elaborate. You call us if you need anything at all. Medical issues, emotional struggles, just wanting company. We're your husbands now. We take care of what's ours. There was that word again. Ours. And what do I owe you in return? I asked, for all this care. The twins exchanged a look. Some silent communication passed between them. Loyalty, Dae-jung said finally. Absolute, unwavering loyalty. You're a Hwang now. That means our enemies are your enemies. Our secrets are your secrets. You stand with us, always. And the other duties? I forced myself to ask. The ones you mentioned. Earlier? Juan reached over, placed his hand over mine where it rested on the table. His touch was warm, careful. We know you're scared. We know this isn't what you would have chosen. So we're not going to force anything physical. When you're ready, if you're ever ready, we'll take that step. But not before. That's not what the contract says, Dae-jung added. The contract says you're our wife in every sense, but my brother is softer than I am, so we'll compromise. You have time to adjust, but not forever, Amma. Eventually, this marriage will be real. The promise in his voice sent shivers down my spine. Not entirely from fear. How much time? I whispered. As long as you need to stop looking at us like we're going to hurt you, Juan said. We're not the enemy. We saved you, remember? Your father's debt would have destroyed your family. We gave you an out that requires I marry 2 strangers and live in a world I don't understand. Then, let us help you understand, Juan said. Give us a chance. You might be surprised. Dinner arrived. Korean food I didn't recognize, though Mrs. Choi had thoughtfully included some rice and grilled chicken alongside the more exotic dishes. The twins kept the conversation light, asking about my nursing studies, my life in Lagos, my favorite things. Juan was the talker, asking questions, telling jokes, trying to put me at ease. Dae-jung was mostly silent, but I could feel his attention on me, steady and assessing, like he was taking my measure, figuring out who I was beneath the fear. It was unnerving and oddly thrilling at the same time. Tomorrow, Juan said as dinner wound down, we need to take you shopping. You need a phone that works here, some personal items, things to make your room feel like yours. I don't have money. You don't need money, Dae-jung said. Everything you want or need, you ask us. You're our responsibility now. There it was again, that possessive edge to his voice that made my stomach flip. And tomorrow night, Juan continued, we're having dinner with our father. He wants to meet you officially. It's just a formality, but it's important you make a good impression. Why? I'm already here. The contract is signed. Because our father values respect, Dae-jung said. And because his approval, while not required, makes our lives easier. He needs to see that you're suitable, that you understand the family you've married into. And what happens if he doesn't approve? He will, Dae-jung said with absolute certainty, because we chose you. And what we choose, we keep. The way he said it, like I was a possession he'd decided to acquire, should have made me angry. Instead, something warm and confusing curled in my belly. After dinner, and Juan walked me back to my room. At the door, he paused. I know Day comes on strong. It's his way. But underneath all that intensity, he cares. He just doesn't know how to show it like normal people do. And you? How do you show it? Juan smiled. I'm working on that. Give me time to figure out how to care for someone who didn't choose to be here. You could start by not calling me a possession. Would it help if I said you possess us too? His smile turned playful. You have no idea the effect you have, Amma. My brother can't stop watching you, and I can't stop thinking about how to make you smile. We're just as trapped as you are. He left before I could respond. Alone in my room, I changed into the silk pajamas I found in the dresser, climbed into the enormous bed, and stared at the ceiling. This was my life now. Married to two dangerous men in a dangerous world. No way out. No going back. I should have been terrified, and I was. But underneath the terror was something else. Something I didn't want to examine too closely. Because when Dae-jung looked at me with those intense eyes, when Juan smiled and called me beautiful, when they both said I was theirs, part of me wanted to believe them. Part of me wanted to belong. I fell asleep, wondering if that made me strong or just desperately broken. The next morning, I woke to sunlight streaming through the floor-to-ceiling windows and the smell of coffee. For a moment, I didn't remember where I was. Then it all came rushing back. Seoul, the twins, the contract, my new reality. I found a robe laid out at the foot of the bed and followed the coffee smell to the kitchen, where Juan stood at the stove cooking what looked like eggs and vegetables. Morning, he said cheerfully. Did you sleep? Eventually. I slid onto a stool at the kitchen island. Where's Dae-jung? Meeting with our father. Business stuff. Juan slid a plate in front of me, scrambled eggs with vegetables, toast, and cut fruit. I make a decent breakfast. Lunch and dinner, not so much. That's what Mrs. Choi is for. I picked at the food. It was good, but my stomach was in knots. What's the meeting about? You, mostly. Father wants to know our plans, how we're going to integrate you into the family business, what role you'll play. I thought I was just supposed to be your wife. In our world, wives aren't decoration, they're partners. Father built his empire with our mother before she died. He expects us to do the same with you. I'm a nursing student. I don't know anything about running criminal organizations. Yet, Juan said with a smile. But you're smart. You'll learn. Besides, you bring something we don't have. What's that? An outside perspective. We've been in this world our whole lives. We don't see it clearly anymore. You do. That's valuable. I ate in silence, processing this. I'd assumed I'd be kept locked away like a prisoner or a trophy. The idea that they expected me to be an actual partner was complicated. After breakfast, Juan said, we're going shopping. Myeongdong, one of Seoul's biggest shopping districts. I figured you'd want things that feel like you, not just what we picked out. I told you I don't have money. And I told you money isn't an issue. Amma, look at me. He waited until I met his eyes. You're a Hwang now. That means you have access to everything we have. Credit cards, accounts, whatever you need. The only limit is security. We can't have you running around alone. But otherwise, anything you want. Why are you being so nice to me? Because you're scared and alone in a foreign country, married to strangers who turned your life upside down, because my father's debt system is brutal and I hate that we benefit from it, because... He paused, seeming to choose his words carefully. Because when I look at you, I don't see a debt payment. I see someone who deserves kindness. Something in my chest loosened. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. Wait until you meet our father tonight. He's not as nice as I am. Shopping in Myeongdong was overwhelming in the best way. The streets were packed with people, shops, street food vendors. Everything was bright and loud and alive in a way that reminded me of Lagos markets, but also felt completely foreign. Juan kept a protective hand on my lower back as we moved through the crowds, and 2 security guards in plain clothes shadowed us at a discreet distance. I tried not to think about why we needed security. Pick anything, Juan encouraged as we entered a cosmetics store. Seriously, go crazy, I started cautiously. A lipstick, some moisturizer, but Juan kept adding things to the basket, and eventually I gave in and actually shopped. When was the last time I'd bought something just because I wanted it? We hit clothing stores next. Juan had excellent taste, suggesting pieces I never would have tried, but that looked amazing once I put them on. He was respectful, waiting outside dressing rooms, but his eyes lit up every time I emerged in a new outfit. That one, he said when I tried on a deep green dress. Definitely that one. You look incredible. I blushed, unused to compliments. It's too expensive. I don't care if it costs $1,000,001. If you like it, we're getting it. We got the dress, and 3 more, and shoes, and bags, and jewellery that made my eyes water when I saw the price tags. Juan, this is too much. This is nothing. He handed the cashier a black credit card without even looking at the total. You should see what Day spends on his cars. He collects cars. 5 of them, all completely unnecessary and all ridiculously fast. My brother has a need for speed and control and probably therapy, but he'd never admit it. I laughed, actually laughed, for the first time since arriving in Seoul. Juan's grin widened. There it is. I was wondering if you knew how. How to what? Laugh, smile. You've looked terrified since you arrived. It's nice to see you relax, even for a second. The moment felt fragile, precious. Like maybe this wouldn't be entirely awful. Like maybe I could find something good here. Then my phone rang. The one Juan had given me. The screen showed Daejung. Answer it, Juan said. He's probably checking in. I swiped to accept. Hello? Where are you? Daejung's voice was tense. Myeongdong. Shopping. Juan said, get back to the car. Now. What? Why? Because I just got word that the Kang family knows about you. They're looking for our new wife. And Myeongdong is the perfect place to grab someone in a crowd. Fear spiked through me. Who are the Kang family? Our enemies. And they don't play nice. Juan, you still there? Juan had gone tense beside me, already scanning the crowd. Yeah, we're moving. Security is on their way to surround you. Don't stop moving. Get her to the car. Get back here, now. The line went dead. Come on, Juan said, his hand tight on my arm. Stay close to me. What's happening? Are we in danger? Possibly. Probably not. But we're not taking chances with you. We moved quickly through the crowd, the security guards closing in around us. I caught glimpses of their hands under their jackets, weapons ready. My heart hammered. This was real. The danger Daejung had mentioned wasn't theoretical. I was married to men who had enemies who'd hurt me to get to them. We were almost to the car when I saw him, a man watching us from across the street. Something about his stillness in the chaos of the shopping district made my skin crawl. Juan, I whispered. That man, he's staring. Juan's eyes flicked to where I indicated, and his jaw tightened. Get in the car, fast. The security guards formed a wall around us as we rushed the last few meters. Someone opened the car door, practically pushing me inside. Juan slid in behind me, and the car was moving before the door even closed. Did you see him? Juan asked one of the guards. Yes. Kim is following him. We'll know who he is within the hour. I was shaking. Juan pulled me against his side, his arm around my shoulders. You're okay. You're safe. Is this going to be my life? Running from people who want to hurt me? Only until they learn you're untouchable. Then they'll leave you alone. And how do they learn that? Juan's expression went hard. My brother makes an example of someone publicly, violently, so everyone understands what happens when they threaten what's ours. The warmth I'd felt toward him earlier turned cold. This was who they were, not just protective husbands, but killers, men who solved problems with violence. Back at the house, Dae-jung was waiting at the door. He pulled me straight into his arms the moment I stepped out of the car, holding me so tightly I could barely breathe. "You're okay," he said, more to himself than to me. "You're okay." "I'm fine. Nothing happened." He pulled back, hands gripping my shoulders, eyes burning into mine. "Something almost happened. That's enough. From now on, you don't leave this house without me or Juan and a full security team. Understood? You can't keep me locked up. Watch me." His voice was steel. "You're mine to protect, and I will do whatever it takes, even if you hate me for it. I already hate you for buying me like property. Then hate me for that too. But you'll be alive to hate me, which is what matters." He released me and stalked off, fury radiating from every line of his body. I stood there shaking, not sure if I wanted to cry or scream. Juan appeared at my side. "He's not angry at you. He's angry at himself for not anticipating this. He can't control everything. Try telling him that. Day thinks if he's just smart enough, ruthless enough, strong enough, he can protect everyone he cares about. It's going to destroy him eventually." He cares about me. The question came out smaller than I intended, more than he wants to. Juan's smile was sad. We both do, which is terrifying because caring about people in our world is a weakness, and we've just given our enemies a very clear target. Me. You. That night's dinner with their father suddenly felt 1,000 times more intimidating. Hwang Jin-woo was 63 years old and looked like he could still kill a man with his bare hands. He sat at the head of a long dining table in the main house, dressed in a traditional Korean suit, his silver hair swept back from a face that must have been devastatingly handsome in his youth. His eyes, the same dark intensity his sons had inherited, assessed me as I entered the room. "So," he said in perfect English, "this is the girl." "Father," Dae-jung said from beside me, his hand at my back. "This is Ama Mensa, our wife." "Sit." I sat. The twins flanked me, a united front. The table was laden with food, a traditional Korean feast that probably cost more than my father's monthly salary. "Your father tells me you're a nursing student," Jin-woo said. "Yes, sir. I was in my third year." "Third year. Nearly finished then. Pity to waste that education." "I don't intend to waste it, sir." One eyebrow rose. "Oh? You plan to continue your studies?" "If possible, yes. My sons need a wife, not a career woman." "Father," Hwan started, but Jin-woo held up a hand. "I'm not saying she can't do both. I'm saying she needs to understand priorities. My sons are taking over a multi-billion-dollar organization with enemies on every side. Their wife needs to be their support, not a distraction." "I understand that, sir. Do you?" He leaned forward. "Do you understand what you've entered? This isn't a normal marriage. My sons don't get weekends off or vacation time. They don't get to turn off the danger when they come home. Every moment, they're targets, which means you're a target. Can you handle that?" "I don't have a choice." "There's always a choice. You could run. My sons might chase you, might bring you back, but you could try. And then what? My father and brother die because I broke the contract." Jin-woo smiled, a cold, calculating expression. "So you do understand. Good. You're smarter than you look." "Father." Dae-jung's voice held a warning. "What? I'm complimenting her. She's practical. I like practical." He turned back to me. "Here's how this works, girl. You're a Hwang now. That means you represent this family. Everything you do, every choice you make reflects on my sons. You embarrass them, you embarrass me. You betray them, you betray the whole family. Do you understand what happens to people who betray this family? My mouth was dry. I imagine it's not pleasant. Pleasant. He laughed, a harsh sound. She has spine. I didn't expect that. Most of the girls my sons date are vapid socialites who care more about designer bags than survival. You, though, you're a fighter. I'm a survivor, I corrected. There's a difference. Is there? In my experience, they're the same thing. He sat back, seeming to come to some decision. Fine, you can stay. But understand this. I don't give second chances. You get one opportunity to prove you're worthy of my sons. Don't waste it. I won't, sir. Good. Now eat. Mrs. Choi worked all day on this meal. The rest of dinner passed in a blur. Jin-woo asked questions about my family, my education, my life in Lagos. Every answer felt like a test I might fail, but gradually his expression softened from hostile to merely assessing. As we were leaving, he called out, "Amma," I turned back. "Yes, sir. My sons don't bring people into this family lightly. If they chose you, there's a reason. Don't make them regret it. I'll do my best. Your best better be extraordinary." In the car ride back to the West Wing, I slumped against the seat, exhausted. "That was intense," Hwan said. "You did well." "He terrifies me." "He's supposed to," Daejung replied. "That's how he keeps control. But he liked you." I could tell. How could you possibly tell? "He didn't threaten to kill you." That's his version of approval. Back at the apartment, the twins walked me to my room. At the door, Hwan paused. "We need to discuss something," he said. "About the security situation." "What about it?" Daejung answered. "You can't be alone anymore. Not even in this apartment. One of us stays with you at all times, or you have a guard posted outside your door." "You're seriously going to watch me sleep? If that's what keeps you alive, yes." "This is insane. This is reality," Daejung said. "You saw that man today. They're already moving. We need to move faster, which means tomorrow we're announcing our marriage publicly. A press conference, photos, the whole thing. Once everyone knows you're ours, the rules change." "What rules?" "The ones about not killing each other's family members without serious cause," Hwan explained. "Right now, you're just some girl we brought home. Once you're officially our wife, you're protected by tradition and honor codes. Not perfectly, but better. And what happens at this press conference? You stand beside us, wear a ring, smile for cameras, and let the world know you're a Hwang," Daejung said. "Simple." "Nothing about this is simple." "No," Daejung agreed, "but it's necessary." He stepped closer, and suddenly the doorway felt too small. His hand came up to cup my cheek, thumb brushing my skin. "I know you're scared. I know you hate this, but I need you to trust that we're doing everything we can to keep you safe. Can you do that?" His touch sent electricity through me. This close, I could see flecks of gold in his dark eyes, could smell his cologne, could feel the heat radiating off him. "I don't know," I whispered honestly. "Then let me give you a reason to trust me." He leaned in slowly, giving me time to pull away. When I didn't, his lips met mine, soft at first, testing, then deeper as I responded despite myself. The kiss was nothing like Hwan's playful pecks. This was claiming, possessing, promising things that terrified and thrilled me in equal measure. When he finally pulled back, we were both breathing hard. "You're ours, Amma," he said softly, "and we protect what's ours with everything we have. That's a promise." He left before I could respond. Hwan lingered a moment longer, his expression unreadable. Get some sleep, he said gently. Tomorrow's going to be a long day, and Amma, what he said about protecting you, he means it. We both do, even if you don't believe it yet. Alone in my room, I touched my lips where Dae-jung had kissed me. Everything about this situation was wrong. Forced marriage, dangerous enemies, two men who expected me to belong to them. But when Dae-jung kissed me, when Hwan smiled at me, when they both looked at me like I was precious, maybe wrong could still feel right. Maybe trapped could still feel safe. Maybe survival could turn into something more. I fell asleep thinking about dark eyes and dangerous promises, and for the first time since arriving in Seoul, I didn't have nightmares. Comment below, would you trust the twins? Are they heroes or villains? Because tomorrow, Amma's face will be plastered across Seoul, and there's no going back. The press conference was scheduled for 11 a.m. at the Hwang Group headquarters in downtown Seoul. I woke at dawn, my stomach churning with anxiety, to find a team of people already waiting in the apartment's living room. Miss Amma, Mrs. Choi greeted me with a warm smile. These are your stylists. Hair, makeup, wardrobe. The young masters want you looking perfect for the cameras. Perfect. Right. Because I was about to be paraded in front of Seoul's media as the new Mrs. Hwang. The next 3 hours were a blur of hands in my hair, brushes on my face, and people draping me in different outfits until they settled on a cream-coloured dress that Hwan declared absolutely perfect. It was elegant without being stuffy, expensive without being flashy, and it made my dark skin glow. You look like a queen, Hwan said softly, appearing in the doorway as the stylists packed up. I look like I'm playing dress-up in someone else's life. That's what this is. Playing a role. Just for a few hours, then you can come home and be yourself again. He crossed to me, adjusted my necklace. A delicate gold chain with a pendant that probably cost more than a car. You nervous? Terrified. Good. Use that. Scared people are careful people. Careful people don't make mistakes. He smiled. Besides, Day and I will be right there. All you have to do is stand beside us and look like you're in love. I'm not an actress. Then don't act. Just don't look miserable. That's all we're asking. Dae-jung appeared behind his brother, dressed in a sharp navy suit that made him look like he'd stepped out of a magazine. His eyes swept over me, and something flickered in their depths. You'll do, he said, which, coming from him, might have been the highest compliment possible. The drive to Hwang Group headquarters was tense. Both twins were on their phones, speaking rapid Korean I couldn't follow. Security cars flanked us front and back. When we pulled up to the building, I could see the crowd of reporters already gathered. Remember, Dae-jung said as we prepared to exit, you're Amma Hwang now. You chose this. You're happy. You love us. That's the story. Even though none of it's true, it will be, he said with absolute certainty. Eventually. The moment we stepped out of the car, cameras exploded with flashes. Reporters shouted questions in Korean. The security guards formed a wall around us as Dae-jung took my left hand and Hwan took my right, both gripping firmly as we walked into the building. Is it true you married both brothers? How did you meet? Are you pregnant? What does your family think? The questions came in English and Korean, overlapping, relentless. I kept my head up and my expression neutral, just like Hwan had coached me during the car ride. Inside, we were led to a conference room where more cameras waited. A long table sat at the front with 3 chairs. The centre one, I realised with sinking dread, was for me. Ready? Hwan squeezed my hand. No. Perfect. Let's go. We took our seats. The twins flanked me, their presence both protective and possessive. A moderator stepped forward, speaking in Korean, then switching to English. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. The Hwang family has an announcement regarding the personal lives of Hwang Dae-jung and Huang. I'll now turn it over to them. Daejung leaned forward to the microphone, his voice clear and commanding. 2 weeks ago, my brother and I were married to Ama Mensah, daughter of Kwame Mensah, a respected business associate of our father's. The marriage was arranged by our families and represents a union of our two companies. We're very happy to welcome Ama into the Huang family. Hands shot up immediately. The moderator called on a reporter in the front row. Is it true this is a polygamous marriage? That she's married to both of you? In Korea, obviously, legal marriage is between two people. Juan answered smoothly. Ama is legally married to me, but in our family and in our culture, we consider her married to both of us. It's an unconventional arrangement, but it works for us. Miss Mensah, another reporter called out, how do you feel about being married to two men? All eyes turned to me. The twins had warned me this question would come. I leaned toward the microphone, my heart hammering. At first, I was surprised, I said, choosing my words carefully. It's not something you expect, but Juan and Daejung have shown me nothing but respect and kindness. I'm honoured to be part of the Huang family. The lies tasted bitter, but they rolled off my tongue smoothly enough. More questions came, about how we met, through family business. True. About whether I'd moved to Korea permanently. Yes, unfortunately true. About whether we planned to have children, Daejung deflected that one smoothly. Then a reporter in the back stood up, and something about her expression made my skin prickle. Miss Mensah, are you aware that your father's business was actually a front for smuggling operations, and that the Huang family paid his considerable debts in exchange for you? Isn't this marriage actually a purchase? The room went silent. Daejung's hand found my thigh under the table, gripping tightly. A warning. Support? Both? My father is a legitimate businessman, I said, keeping my voice steady, even as my insides churned. Any debts between our families were business-related and have been resolved. As for our marriage being a purchase, that's insulting to both me and my husband's. I chose to be here. Did you? The reporter pressed. Because my sources say your sources are wrong. Daejung cut in, his voice like ice. And if you continue spreading malicious lies about my wife or her family, you'll find yourself facing a defamation lawsuit. Next question. The moderator quickly called on someone else, but the damage was done. The room buzzed with whispered conversations. I could see the scandal forming in real time. We're done here, Huan said abruptly, standing. Thank you all for coming. Any further questions can be directed to our PR team. Security moved in immediately, forming a wall as the twins ushered me out through a back exit. In the private elevator going up to their offices, I finally let myself shake. I'm sorry, I whispered. I should have. You were perfect, Daejung interrupted. That reporter was planted by the Kang family. They're trying to embarrass us, make us look weak. You didn't let them. But everyone's going to talk about it, about me being bought. Let them talk, Juan said. The important thing is you didn't break. You stood with us. That's what matters. In Daejung's office, a massive space overlooking Seoul, the twins immediately started making calls. I caught fragments. Damage control, find the reporter, make an example. Their voices were cold, calculating, lethal. This was who they were when the charm fell away. Dangerous men who dealt in violence and fear. I moved to the floor-to-ceiling windows, looking out at the city that was supposed to be my home now. Somewhere down there, people were already spreading the story. The African girl who was bought by Seoul's most notorious family, the wife who was property, Ama. I turned to find Daejung behind me, his expression unreadable. That reporter, she'll be dealt with. By tomorrow, she won't work in journalism again. By next week, she'll wish she'd never spoken your name. You're going to ruin her life because she told the truth. I'm going to ruin her life because she tried to hurt what's mine. He stepped closer. In this world, you protect your own. Always. No mercy, no exceptions. That's a terrifying way to live. That's the only way to survive. His hand came up to my face, thumb tracing my cheekbone. You're learning, though. The way you handled those questions, you're stronger than you think. I'm not strong. I'm terrified every second. Fear and strength aren't opposites. The strongest people I know are terrified constantly. They just don't let it stop them. His eyes searched mine. You didn't let it stop you today. You stood there and lied for us, protected us. Do you know what that means? That I'm a good liar, that you're becoming one of us. The thought should have horrified me. Instead, a small, traitorous part of me felt proud. We need to go, Juan called from across the office. Father wants to see us. Now. The meeting with Jin Woo was in the main house, in his private office that looked more like a military command centre than a business space. Multiple screens showed news coverage of the press conference. Every channel was covering it. Well, Jin Woo said without preamble, that was a disaster. Father, Dae-jung started. I'm not finished. Jin Woo's eyes fixed on me. You, the reporter who ambushed you. What did you notice about her? She seemed very prepared, like she knew exactly what to ask. What else? I thought back, replaying the moment. She was in the back. Most reporters fight for front row seats. She stayed back on purpose, and she didn't ask follow-up questions. She dropped her bomb and let it explode. Jin Woo's lips curved into something that might have been approval. Smart girl. You're right. She was planted specifically to create scandal. The question is, by whom? The Kang family, Dae-jung said. It has their fingerprints all over it. Possibly. Or the Lee family, or any of the other organisations that would benefit from us looking weak. Jin Woo stood, moving to the windows. The problem is, now everyone knows how you acquired your wife. That makes you look desperate, weak, like you couldn't find a woman who wanted you. We don't care how we look, Juan said. You should. Perception is reality in our world. If people think you're weak, they test you. If they test you, people die. He turned back to us. So we control the narrative. We tell a better story. What story? I asked. A love story. Jin Woo's smile was calculating. The debt was real, yes, but you two fell in love despite the arrangement. You chose to stay not because of the contract, but because you wanted to. You're not a bought bride. You're a woman who found love in an unexpected place. No one will believe that, I said. They will if you sell it properly, starting tonight. Jin Woo pulled up something on his tablet, showed us a glittering invitation. The Min Charity Gala. Every major family in Seoul will be there. You three will attend together, and you'll be so obviously in love that everyone forgets about that reporter's questions. Father, that's in 3 hours, Juan protested. Then you better get moving. Amma needs a gown. You two need to not look like you're attending a funeral, and all 3 of you need to learn how to act like a happily married throuple. Go. Back at the apartment, the styling team returned. This time, the dress they chose was deep emerald green, fitted through the bodice and flowing from the waist. It was stunning and made me feel like someone I didn't recognise. You look like you belong in a palace, Juan said when I emerged. I feel like I'm playing pretend. Then pretend well. Tonight, every eye will be on us. We need to show them that what we have is real. But it's not real. Then make them believe it is. Dae-jung appeared, dressed in a black tuxedo that made him look like danger, wrapped in silk. That's all that matters, what they believe. The gala was held at one of Seoul's most exclusive hotels. We arrived to a wall of photographers, and this time I was ready. I smiled, let the twins guide me, played the part of the happy bride. Inside, the ballroom was breathtaking. Crystal chandeliers, flowers everywhere, hundreds of Seoul's elite in designer gowns and tuxedos, and all of them watching us. "Remember," Juan whispered as we entered, "we're in love. Act like it." For the next hour, we worked the room. The twins introduced me to what felt like hundreds of people, business associates, family friends, rivals barely hiding their disdain. Everyone wanted to know about the unusual marriage arrangement. "It's simple," Juan would say with his charming smile. "I met Amma, fell in love, and couldn't imagine not having her. Day felt the same. So we found a solution that works for all of us." "And you're comfortable sharing?" someone would inevitably ask me. "I don't see it as sharing." I'd respond with a smile that felt plastered on. "I see it as having two people who love me completely. Why would I settle for less?" The lies got easier each time I told them. We were mid-conversation with a Japanese businessman when I felt it. The weight of someone's stare. I turned and found myself looking at a man across the room, mid-30s, handsome in a cold way, watching us with undisguised interest. "Who's that?" I whispered to Juan. His expression went carefully blank. "Kang Min-seok, head of the Kang family. Our enemies. The ones behind today's attack." Min-seok smiled when he saw me looking, raised his glass in a mocking toast, then turned away. "He's trying to intimidate you," Dae-jung murmured in my ear. "Don't let him." "I'm not intimidated. I'm angry."
"Good. Channel that. We'll deal with him later." The evening wore on. We danced. First me with Juan, then with Dae-jung. Juan was smooth, practiced, leading me effortlessly through the steps. Dae-jung was different, more intense, holding me closer than strictly proper. His hand splayed possessively on my lower back. "You're doing well," he said quietly as we moved across the floor. "Better than I expected. I'm a good actress." "Are you? Or are you just discovering you're stronger than you thought?" Before I could answer, he spun me out and back in, and suddenly we were closer than before. Our faces inches apart, moving together to the music, and the world seemed to narrow to just us. "Dae-jung," I whispered. "I know this isn't what you wanted. I know we're not what you would have chosen. But you're ours now, Amma, and that means something to me, to us, more than you realise." "What does it mean?" "It means I'll burn down anyone who tries to take you from us." The intensity in his voice sent shivers down my spine. This wasn't just about the contract or the debt. This was something else, something dangerous and real. The song ended. We broke apart, and I was grateful for the space to breathe. "I need air," I said. "I'll come with you," Juan offered. "No, please, just 5 minutes alone. I'll stay where security can see me." They exchanged a look but nodded. I made my way through the crowd to the terrace, grateful for the cool night air on my flushed skin. It's overwhelming, isn't it? I spun to find Min-seok leaning against the railing, a glass of champagne in hand. "What do you want?" I asked, immediately on guard. "Just to introduce myself properly, Kang Min-seok." He extended a hand I didn't take. "I see the Hwang brothers have taught you to be rude. They've taught me to be careful around enemies." "Enemy? That's harsh. Competitor, maybe. Rival. But enemy suggests violence." His smile was cold. "Though, I suppose, in their world, it's all the same. If you have something to say it. Direct. I like that." He moved closer, and I fought the urge to step back. "I'm curious about you, Amma Mensah. What kind of woman accepts being sold to pay her father's debts? Are you desperate, ambitious, or just naive?" "I'm none of your business." "Ah, but you are. You see, the Hwang brothers are my business, and anything that makes them vulnerable is very much my concern." He circled me slowly. "They're obsessed with you already. I can see it.
The way they watch you, touch you, can't bear to let you out of their sight. That obsession is a weakness, and weaknesses can be exploited. You're wasting your time. They don't care about me. Please. Dae-jung looked ready to murder half the room when people asked uncomfortable questions today. Hwan hasn't smiled properly since you walked outside. They care, which means you have power. The question is, do you know how to use it? What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that you're trapped in a situation you didn't choose, married to men you don't love, in a world that terrifies you. I could help you, get you out, get your family to safety. All you'd have to do is tell me a few things, what the Hwang brothers are planning, where their weaknesses are, simple information. You want me to betray them. I want to offer you freedom. There's a difference. He handed me a business card. Think about it. When you get tired of being property, call me. I'll help you escape. Ama. We both turned to find Dae-jung in the terrace doorway, and the expression on his face was murderous. He crossed to us in 3 long strides, positioning himself between me and Min Seok. If you ever approach my wife again, Dae-jung said, his voice deadly soft, I will end you. Slowly. Do we understand each other? Perfectly. Min Seok smiled. I was just welcoming her to Seoul. No harm in that. Everything you do is harmful. Get out of my sight. Min Seok gave a mocking bow and left. The moment he was gone, Dae-jung rounded on me. What did he say to you? He offered to help me escape, in exchange for information about you and Hwan. And what did you tell him? Nothing. I told him nothing. But you took his card. Dae-jung's hand shot out, plucking the business card from my fingers. He tore it in half without looking at it. You don't talk to him. You don't look at him. If he approaches you again, you walk away immediately. Understood? I'm not a child to be ordered around. You're my wife, which means you don't put yourself in danger by playing games with snakes like Min Seok. His hands gripped my shoulders. He wasn't offering to help you, Amma. He was setting a trap. Men like him don't save people. They use them and discard them. And men like you, what do? We protect what's ours. His grip softened, became almost gentle. I know you don't trust me yet. I know you see me as another captor, but Min Seok, he's so much worse than anything I could ever be. Please, don't be alone with him again. There was something in his voice, genuine fear maybe. For me? I won't, I said. I promise. The tension in his shoulders eased. Good. Now come inside. People are noticing you're missing. The rest of the gala passed in a blur. The twins kept me between them, a united front, showing the world that I was protected, claimed, theirs. When we finally left, exhaustion hit me like a wave. In the car, I leaned my head on Hwan's shoulder without thinking. He stiffened for a moment, then relaxed, his arm coming around me. You did well tonight, he said softly. Really well. I'm tired of pretending. Then stop pretending, just be with us. Let this become real. How do I do that when I was forced here? By choosing to stay, Dae-jung said from the front seat. Every day, you make a choice. You could run. You could betray us. You could make our lives miserable. But you don't. That's a choice. Maybe it's time to own it. Back at the apartment, the twins walked me to my room like they had every night. But this time, when I reached the door, I turned back. Could one of you stay, just for tonight? I don't want to be alone after what Min Seok said. They looked at each other, that silent communication passing between them. I'll stay, Hwan said. Dae, you good? Dae-jung nodded, but something flickered across his face. Disappointment, jealousy. It was gone too quickly to identify. Good night, Amma, he said, his voice carefully neutral. Good night. He left, Juan followed me into the room and suddenly I was nervous. This was different from him just guarding the door. This was invitation, intimacy. I can sleep on the couch, he said, reading my expression. I don't have to. No, the bed's huge. We can share. I just don't want to be alone. Okay. We got ready for bed in awkward silence. I changed in the bathroom, emerging in silk pajamas to find Juan already under the covers, shirtless, giving me space on the other side. I climbed in, and the bed felt both too large and too small. We lay in the dark, careful not to touch. Can I ask you something? I said finally. Anything. Why did you agree to this? The arranged marriage? You and Day could have anyone. Why buy a wife? Juan was quiet for a long moment. Our father's been pressuring us to marry for years. Said we needed to settle down, produce heirs, secure the family line. We refused every woman he suggested. Socialites, business connections, all of them. They saw us as meal tickets or status symbols. None of them were real. And I am. You're different. You didn't choose this, which means you have no agenda. You're not here for our money or our name or our power. You're here because you love your family enough to sacrifice yourself for them. That kind of loyalty, that's valuable, that's real. So I'm valuable property. You're a partner we can trust. There's a difference. Everyone keeps saying there's a difference. I'm not sure I see it anymore. He rolled toward me, propped up on one elbow. In the dim light from the window, I could see his expression, earnest, open, vulnerable, in a way Dae-jung never was. Then let me show you the difference. He leaned in slowly, giving me time to pull away. When I didn't, his lips met mine, soft, questioning, sweet. Nothing like Dae-jung's claiming kiss. This was a request, not a demand. I found myself responding, my hand coming up to touch his face. The kiss deepened, became more urgent, and suddenly Juan was closer, his body warm against mine. Ama. He breathed against my lips. Tell me to stop if this isn't what you want. What did I want? My head was spinning, my body responding in ways I didn't expect. This was Juan, kind, gentle Juan, who made me laugh and tried so hard to make me comfortable. Don't stop, I whispered. He kissed me again, deeper this time, his hands tangling in my hair. We shifted together, finding each other in the dark, and for the first time since arriving in Seoul, I wasn't thinking about contracts or debts or duty. I was just feeling, wanting, choosing. When we finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Juan pressed his forehead to mine. Are you okay? I don't know. Maybe. I'm confused. Confused is okay. Confused is normal. He kissed my forehead. You don't have to decide anything tonight. Just know that what I feel for you, it's real. It's not about the contract or the arrangement. You've gotten under my skin, Amma Mensa. Is that good or bad? Both. Terrifying and wonderful. Both. We fell asleep tangled together, and for the first time since Mama died, I didn't feel completely alone. I woke to sunlight, and Juan gone. A note on his pillow. Didn't want to wake you. Breakfast in the kitchen when you're ready. H. I showered and dressed, still processing what had happened last night. I'd kissed Juan, wanted him, chosen for that moment to be with him. What did that make me? Weak, practical, or just human? In the kitchen, I found both twins at the table with coffee and pastries. Dae-jung looked up when I entered, his eyes searching my face. You look rested. I slept well. Something passed between the brothers, Juan probably telling him what happened. Dae-jung's jaw tightened, but he nodded. Good. You'll need your energy. We have news. What kind of news? The good kind, Juan said, pouring me coffee. Remember how you said you wanted to continue your nursing studies? We've arranged it. There's a nursing program at Seoul National University. They've agreed to accept your transfer credits. You can start next month. I nearly dropped my cup. What? How? We made a donation, Dae-young said with a slight smile. A large one. Enough that they were happy to accommodate our request. You'll have a full schedule, security escort to and from campus, and a tutor to help with any language barriers until your Korean improves. You're serious? You're actually letting me go to school? You're not a prisoner, Amma, Hwan said. We want you to have a life, a real one, not just sitting in this apartment waiting for us. Tears burned my eyes. Thank you. Really? Thank you. Don't thank us yet, Dae-young said. There's a condition. Of course there was. What condition? You tell us everything. Who you meet, who talks to you, anything unusual that happens. Seoul National is full of children from powerful families, some of them our allies, some our enemies. You need to be careful, and you need to keep us informed. So I'm a student and a spy. You're our eyes and ears in a place we can't always be, Dae-jung corrected. And yes, that means reporting back to us. Can you do that? I thought about it. About having something of my own again. About finishing the degree I'd thought was lost forever. About having a purpose beyond just being their wife. Yes, I can do that. Good. Dae-jung stood, moved around the table to me. He cupped my face, tilted it up to his. You're becoming one of us, Amma. Every day, a little more. I can see it. The question is, do you see it? I see that I'm surviving. No. His thumb traced my bottom lip. You're thriving. And it terrifies you because you're starting to like it here. Starting to like us. Admit it. I don't. Liar. But his smile was almost fond. It's okay. You'll come around. We have time. He kissed me then, harder than Hwan, more possessive, claiming me in front of his brother. When he pulled back, I was breathless. Both of you, he said, looking between me and Hwan. You're both mine. Don't forget that. He left for work. Hwan stayed, watching me with an unreadable expression. He's not wrong, Hwan said quietly. You are changing, becoming someone who can survive in this world. Is that really so bad? I don't know who I am anymore. Then figure it out. School will help. Having something of your own will help. And Amma. He took my hand. Whatever you become, whoever you turn into here, we'll still want you. All of you. Even the parts that hate us. I don't hate you. Not anymore. That's progress. The next few weeks blurred together. I started school, found myself fascinated by the program, despite the challenges of studying in a second language. Made friends, carefully, always aware of who their families were, who they might be connected to. The twins kept their word about giving me space, but they were never far. Always a text checking in, always security following at a discreet distance, always there when I came home, and home was what the apartment was becoming. Not just the place I lived, but somewhere I belonged. The twins and I fell into a rhythm, dinners together most nights, Hwen teaching me Korean, Dae-jung showing me the business, how their empire worked, where the dangers were, who the players were. I was learning their world, and they were learning mine. One night, 3 months after my arrival, I found them both in the living room after dinner. We need to talk, I said. They looked up, immediately alert. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong, I need to say something. I sat across from them, gathering my courage. When I first came here, I thought this would destroy me, being forced into marriage with strangers, into a world I didn't understand. I thought I'd never survive it. Amma, Hwan started. Let me finish, please. I took a breath. But I'm not just surviving, I'm living. I'm going to school. I'm learning. I'm becoming someone new, someone stronger. And you too, you've been patient with me, kinder than you needed to be. You've given me space when I needed it and support when I asked. Where is this going? Daejung asked, his expression guarded. I'm saying that maybe it's time to stop pretending, stop acting like this is just an arrangement we're all tolerating, because somewhere along the way, it became real for me. You became real. This life became real. The silence was deafening. Are you saying what I think you're saying? Juan asked carefully. I'm saying I choose this, not because of the contract or my father's debt, but because I want to. I choose you, both of you. Dae-jung was on his feet in an instant, crossing to me, pulling me up into his arms. His kiss was fierce, possessive, claiming. Finally, he breathed against my lips. Finally, you're really ours. Juan joined us, his hand on my waist, his lips on my neck. Are you sure? Really sure? I'm terrified, I admitted. But yes, I'm sure. Then let us show you what it means, Dae-jung said, to really be ours. Completely. They led me to the master bedroom. Their room, not mine. The bed was massive, dominating the space. They stood on either side of me, a united front, watching me with identical expressions of want. Last chance to change your mind, Juan said softly. I'm not changing my mind. What followed was an education in intimacy. They were different. Juan gentle and worshipful, Dae-jung intense and demanding, but together they were overwhelming. They learned me, possessed me, claimed me in ways that left no doubt who I belonged to. When it was over, I lay between them, their bodies warm against mine, and felt complete for the first time since Mama died. We're keeping you forever, Dae-jung murmured against my hair. You know that, right? You're ours now. No take-backs. I don't want take-backs. Good. Juan kissed my shoulder, because we're not letting you go. Ever. I fell asleep thinking about how strange life was. I'd come to Seoul a prisoner, a debt payment, property sold to pay a price. But somewhere along the way, I'd become a wife, a partner, a woman who'd found her strength in the last place she'd expected. The cage had become a kingdom. The captors had become protectors. The arrangement had become love, not the kind of love from movies or books. This was darker, more complicated, built on danger and necessity and choice. But it was mine. They were mine, and I was theirs. Completely, irrevocably, forever. 6 months later, I stood in the same ballroom where I'd first met Min Seok, but everything was different. I wore a red dress that made me look dangerous. My Korean was fluent. I moved through Seoul's elite like I belonged there, because I did belong. Not as the bought bride or the debt payment, but as Ama Hwang, wife to Seoul's most feared brothers, partner in their empire, a woman who'd learned to thrive in darkness. You look like a queen, Juan said, offering me champagne. I feel like one. Dae-jung appeared at my other side, his hand possessive on my waist. Good, because that's exactly what you are, our queen, and God help anyone who forgets it. Across the room, I caught Min Seok watching us. But where once I would have felt fear, now I felt only pity. He'd thought I was weak, thought I could be used. He'd been wrong. I smiled at him, not nervous or scared, but confident and dangerous, a warning. I was a Hwang now, protected, powerful, untouchable. He looked away first. Should we deal with him? Dae-jung murmured in my ear. He's been making moves against us, getting bold. Not yet, I said. Let him think he's winning. That's when people make mistakes. Both twins looked at me with something like pride. You've learned well, Juan said. I had good teachers. We moved through the gala as one unit, and I realized with sudden clarity that this was my life now. Not the life I'd planned, but the one I'd built from ashes and fear and forced choices. And it was good. Strange and dangerous and complicated, but good. That night, in bed between my husbands, I thought about the girl who'd arrived in Seoul terrified and alone. She was gone now. In her place was someone new, someone stronger, someone who'd learned that sometimes the worst situations lead to the best outcomes, that forced choices can become real ones, that love doesn't always look like you expect. "What are you thinking?" Juan asked, running his fingers through my hair. "That I'm happy, really, genuinely happy. Is that crazy?" "Not crazy," Dae-jung said from my other side. "Just unexpected. For all of us. I never thought I'd love you both, love this life, but I do. We love you too," they said together. And in that moment, in the darkness of our shared room, with my two impossible husbands holding me between them, I finally understood. I'd been bought, that was true, paid for like property to settle a debt, but I'd also been freed from a life of struggle and fear, from a future with no choices, from being small and powerless. The Huang brothers had bought me, but in doing so, they'd given me everything: power, protection, purpose, love, and that was worth any price, even freedom, especially freedom. Because sometimes the cage you're forced into becomes the home you choose, and the captors become the people you can't imagine living without. That was my story. The girl who was bought and became a queen, the debt payment who became a partner, the prisoner who became free by embracing her chains, and I wouldn't change a single moment, not even the beginning, especially not the beginning, because that's where this love story started, in darkness and fear and forced choices, and it ended in light, our light, together, forever. If you loved Amma's journey from prisoner to queen, drop a comment telling us your favourite moment. Was it when she stood up to Min Seok, when she finally chose the twins, when she became the power player she was meant to be? Subscribe for more Afro-Korean romance stories where love conquers even the darkest circumstances. Your engagement keeps these stories alive. The end.